With me today, of course, is JACOB CHARLTON from Thornhill, one of the fastest rising bands out there right now. And you guys are actually, you're on the road right now, right? I think you're in, is it Salt Lake City tonight?
Yeah, we just rocked up, had sound check and getting ready for show.
Yeah, the last I saw, I think it was a post on your Instagram maybe a week or so ago. At least half of the shows on this tour sold out. Most of the rest of the shows that weren't sold out had low ticket warnings. I mean, it's got to be a great feeling to see how far you guys have been able to take things with Thornhill.
Yeah, we've been really lucky. I mean, everything's kind of hit what we projected, but I couldn't have accounted for the numbers we've had at VIP because Australia doesn't do VIP. So this is our first experience with it. And we've had like 50 people in Chicago. It was just like overwhelming. It was really sick. We've been really, really lucky.
What do you mean Australia doesn't do VIP?
Australia doesn't do VIP, my brother.
So
Nobody,
there's no meet and
no
greets
one
or
in
anything.
Nah, never. This is the first time. Well, at least it's not like it's an American thing. I'm sure some Australian bands have like done it overseas and brought it home, but like it's not something that we've ever done or thought about doing until we toured. I think Alpha Wolf were like, you should definitely do it. Once they did it, and we're like, okay. But it's not something that we've ever done before. It's interesting.
Do you find it to be almost a necessity nowadays with, given how the economy is, at least over here, and things are crazy expensive? It's certainly not cheap to tour. And so, I mean, you hear a lot of times, you read these, articles, or occasionally sometimes bands will get very open and honest online about how much money they're making or the lack of money that they're making out on the road. And, with VIP, I mean, it's just another, added source of revenue and something that really, in most cases, I guess, doesn't really, there's not really any overhead, it doesn't cost anything other than time to do meet and greets or anything like that. Do you find it to be almost necessary nowadays to break even, or at least, make a little bit of money out on the road?
I think there's two ways to look at it for sure. I mean, the way we're kind of taking it is that we get an opportunity to meet people that really give a shit. And I feel like, especially in America, the passion that you guys seem to have, it's so worth it for us. But like you said, it is very rough out here. I mean, for Australians to even get here is pretty rough. It's just insanely not cost effective to bring 5 or 6 people to the US and BandWagons and all of that. Like it's just like we're very lucky to be in the position that we are to even be over here. Yeah, it is pretty hard out here, but I don't really like talking about money.
Oh, sure. But you said
I don't do any of that sort of shit.
You said
I'll leave that to our management.
You guys are in a BandWagon now?
Yes.
Was it, for those who don't know, a BandWagon is, I don't know, I guess the best way I always say it's kind of like in between like an RV and a bus kind of.
Yeah.
But
like a modded semi.
Yeah, exactly. That feeling of coming over here and have to tour in a van and then moving up to a BandWagon. I mean, that's got to be at least a little exciting, right? A little bit more relaxing. Although I have heard that I've been on BandWagons, but I've never rode in one while it's moving. I've heard they are not the smoothest ride out there, though. It can get a little bumpy, I've heard.
They definitely get bumpy, but we love it. I mean, we've done pretty much everything over here. We started in a van. We did an RV, and then we shared a BandWagon with Banks Arcade, who was on this tour. And then from here, we've done 3 or 4 BandWagons, I think.
Well, this tour that you guys are on now, I think maybe the most notable thing about all of this is that this is your first ever North American headline tour, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys have been here a bunch supporting many different artists. I've seen comments on some of your posts where people are like, man, you guys tour the U.S. more than U.S. bands do. But, obviously now your first time headlining to great results. How do you guys decide, how did you make the decision that now is the right time to come over here and do a headline tour and be confident that it's going to do the business that you guys needed to do to make it worth your while?
Well, we have amazing booking agents. We actually went out to dinner with them recently. We were trying to, not a lot of bands tour at this specific time. I think they're normally a little bit later or a little bit earlier. We wanted to be on the back end of a lot of the festivals because like the last thing you want is to clash with bigger artists or whatever there needs to be. But I don't know. America's kind of our first audience. It's our biggest audience, and it's like something that we want to put the work into. We love touring here, honestly. It just makes sense for this record to be played in full here. I don't know. There's no other way to explain it.
Oh, so you guys are doing the new album Bodies in its entirety on this tour?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's kind of, I don't know, I guess I feel like that's kind of a ballsy move to go out and, I don't know, what's the runtime on the album, 45, 50 minutes, somewhere around there, and play, because did the tour start
So
after?
we're playing more songs. We're playing more songs. Like we play an hour and a bit. Like we play 3 Dark Pool songs. We play 2 Heroine songs as well.
What was the album out? The album was out before you guys started this tour, right?
A week before. Yeah.
So how was the, because I know you guys, there was at least a couple of singles, but how was the reaction, especially early on in the tour when, the album was only out for a week and people are, maybe they haven't had enough time at that point to live with the album. So a lot of these songs they're hearing for the first time, or they're not overly familiar with them. Maybe they've only heard them once. That seems, it's a great idea, but it also seems like, how people are. That's like, man, I want to hear the songs I know. But it does seem like you guys have an incredibly dedicated fan base. So I'm sure they appreciated being able to hear new stuff and not, the whole album in its entirety and not just the same set list that you guys have been doing for so long with maybe 1 or 2 new songs in the mix.
It's definitely over the course of the tour gotten a bit more crazy, which is cool. Like the first week of the tour, we opened with the 2 first songs on Bodies. And we definitely didn't get like the reaction until we played some of the newer stuff, which is like to be expected. It was out pretty early on, but I think we felt extremely confident in this record, in it, and in our ability to perform this record the way we intended to, that I think it was always going to work with the time given. So now that we are in like week 4/5, like the show is starting as crazy as it's ending, which is really cool to see. Like people have had time to enjoy it and to listen. And I think we're still playing like the songs that people want to hear from other stuff. I think this is the most balanced our set list has been. And to be honest, we've been here 6 times. We've definitely given everything we've got in our discography. So, we're here to play Bodies, and that's pretty much it.
Being over here, 6 times now, do you guys like coming over here? I mean, aside from touring and playing for the fans, I mean, do you like being in America, or is it something like, man, I'd much rather be back home in Australia?
By week 5, I'm thinking that for sure. But in the first 4 weeks, I love it here. We all love it here. We love that there is a culture of touring. We don't have that in Australia. There isn't really transportation in Australia. There isn't really a scene of touring, really. Like, it's not like it is here, and even like it is in Europe and UK. Like, we love playing here. We love performing. We love traveling. We love seeing new things. We love the food. I don't know. This is like the best place to tour for us.
Well, and it's, I see these Australian tours pop up all the time, and it's so small, relatively speaking, over there. I mean, you can only do, these bands that go over there, and I mean, maybe 5, 6 shows tops or something. You can only, you can do over there. So does that make it a little, being from Australia, does that make it a little more difficult being in such a smaller area where you can't, there's bands over here that go on tour and they have nothing going on and they make, $50 a show, but they still just want to go out and tour. But does it make it a little harder to break when you're in somewhere like Australia and there's not as many opportunities, I guess, to go out and play in all these different cities?
I think it's hard. I think the hardest touring you're going to have is Australia. I think even people that come from America and go to tour Australia realize that it's the hardest way to tour. Because I would have thought the opposite when we came to America. We were like, okay, it's 20 plus shows, and we've never done that before. I think we've done like a regional before where we've done 19 shows or something like that. But, there is your transit between cities isn't that crazy. Like, yeah, you have some like 14-hour ones where you have a day off and whatever. But like every drive in Australia is 12 hours, and there's nothing to see, there's nothing to do. Yeah, you have to drive yourself because there's no money in it. Like, and if you are making money, you're flying. But if you're flying, you're not sleeping. Like, it's the most brutal way to tour. Every time we do an Australian tour, we're like, for fuck's sake, I don't want to do this at all. Like, not in terms of shows, obviously. Like,
Sure.
we love our Australian fan base more than anything, but like
The
the
logistics
actual
of it.
touring side, oh, it's fucking horrible. It's just Macca's every day.
You know, the one thing I find pretty interesting about the lineup that you guys have right now on this tour, it's you guys, Avoid, Banks Arcade, and Ocean Grove, right? And I think I think I saw something with you where you said early on when the band was first starting out, you guys used to cover Ocean Grove songs, right? And now they're opening for you guys on tour, that's insane, man.
It's a pretty big like small world moment for sure. I mean, even so, like we've done tracks with Sammy, who's the drummer and writing member of OG. Like we've done 2 singles after our first EP with him, so we've known those guys for a very long time. But like we'd never really gone to shows as kids. Like we weren't real like scene kids. We didn't really know anything that was going on. But me and Ethan, the guitarist, we went to a really small show that they put on and we loved it. And we were like, this is so sick. You know, we said hi and whatever. We'd only gone to 3 shows. And then we just started a band. Like, we don't really know anything else other than just like getting on stage and just like playing. And they were big into that. And they've been such a big inspiration for us still. And we did Bodies with Sammy as well, and we're already talking about doing another one now on tour as it is right now. So it's been a dream, honestly.
Yeah, because he was the producer of Bodies, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it seems like things have changed quite a bit for you guys since going back to the Battle of the Bands in the in the early days, huh? I mean, things total full circle.
I feel like things haven't changed that much.
No?
It all feels the same. I feel like, you know, we've known each other for so long now that it's all just like, we're just still going, so going.
When you guys were doing those back in the day, I know some of you were in different bands and rival bands or whatever, but was there this, you know, this motivation amongst everyone back then that, you know, we are going to make it and we're gonna be this successful band, or was it just one of those kind of, you know, typical, you know, kids being in a band and, you know, maybe it goes somewhere, maybe it doesn't type of thing?
When Ethan and I decided to do a band, there was never a backup plan, and there was never really talk about we were just going to do it. Like, there wasn't really talk of, are we going to make it? Is this going to happen? It was like, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it, and we're going to be the best at it, and we're going to do it how we want to do it, and that's it.
You know, in some ways, I feel like, you know, I guess obviously you don't want to be delusional, but in some ways, it's almost not a good idea to have a backup plan because, you know, and I think I've read, you know, people say that when you have a backup plan, you're almost, in a way, preparing yourself for failure. And if you're preparing yourself for failure, you almost will certainly fail at whatever it is that you're trying to do.
I 100% agree with that. I feel like as soon as you have some little thing in the back of your mind saying, oh, but if this doesn't work, I'll do this, that's when you start giving less reps at it. That's when you start relaxing and maybe being a bit more adamant on like decisions and things like that. But I don't know, maybe it's just like a personality thing too. I just never, this was never going to fail. You know, it doesn't matter. I don't like thinking like that anyway about anything.
Oh no, it's not a healthy way to be at all. But you know, I think, you know, looking into the history of Thornhill, I mean, there are so many like perfect storm, you know, type of moments, and I think the one that really that just really blows my mind is that, you know, you guys of course are signed to UNFD, and you know, back in the day, you guys were, you know, rocking UNFD shirts saying how cool would it be if we could ever, you know, be signed there. And now here you are, and, you know, covering Ocean Grove songs. And now they're opening for you. I mean, it's absolutely fucking insane how everything seems to have worked out for you guys. I mean, it's really just wild stuff. It's a great story.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy ride, but it's gone just as planned. So
Well, because you guys didn't have the typical, initial beginnings of playing in the small clubs and whatever. Because your first show, I think you guys even had a manager before you even played your first show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it that it was your guitar player who left the band, right? But is he still managing you guys?
Fuck no.
No.
Fuck no.
Oh boy.
Our drummer is actually.
Oh, so you're still managed in-house?
We're still we're as self-contained as possible in every avenue.
Wow. Well, it's a good way to be because, you got to split the pie a lot less if everything is self-contained and, everybody's kind of working, for the best interest of the band and not the best interest of their pockets.
That's what we've noticed the most, I think. Just like, it's a lot safer that way, I think. And it's good to know that everybody's working towards the same goal because you don't feel like somebody's taking more of the pie than you, or someone's trying to do this, someone's trying to do this. It's like every decision is made in the best interests of all four of us. So I think it's the best way to do it. But as we get bigger and as things change, I'm sure we'll have to reassess. Who knows?
You read these stories of bands over the years that, had these managers or a poor record deal or whatever, and they get totally fucked, and then it ends up, not only costing them a ton of money, but also, especially if you have a bad management and you start making, wrong decisions. I mean, it's cost multiple bands careers, where it stunted their growth and they never probably made it as far as they could because of poor management.
I don't even think it's management. I think it's labels. I think the idea of a label died in the 70s or maybe the 90s. I don't know exactly when, but I think a lot of kids growing up think that that's the way to go. Because why wouldn't you? You need the money. You need to make videos. You need to get on the road. You need to pay people to mix and master your record. But really, you're getting a loan with interest, and you have to pay it back before you see any of it. So it's a hard thing, especially when you're young. It's very, very. It's never in your favor. But that's just like life, isn't it?
Well, the way things are now, though, I mean, it is almost pointless because you can almost do everything from your bedroom if you wanted to. I mean, even down to booking a tour, to writing and recording an album, to marketing online and all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely. I think
we are seeing a limit to that though, which is nice because I feel like there was a real big incline of band musicians from bedrooms. Like that was like a really big thing. But I think the quality of control now has started to pick apart that now, which is nice because there's still so many sick bands that are like bands, you know what I mean? That like us, met in school or met and just jammed and they're just doing it for the love of it. It's really cool. Such a mixed music life now.
Has social media? Do you feel that that's been pretty important?
I fucking hate social media. I hate it so much.
I really do too. I mean, it's almost like a necessary evil these days. But I mean, I fucking hate it. I mean, it's there's so much drama on there. Everybody's so opinionated over everything, and it's mind blowing. But you almost have to do it these days. I mean, do you feel that it's been important to the growth of Thornhill?
No, because we're shit at it. So I don't think anything's worked. I think the whole motivation behind Thornhill is just to do stuff that we 100% believe in all avenues, and it'll find the right people when it does. I don't think you'll ever see a TikTok or a reel of Thornhill in any way that isn't how we would actually be. There wouldn't be any trendy things going on. I think we're all kind of dads with it these days. We're all big into meme culture, which is probably bad. But other than that, we're shocking at it. We hate it. None of us want phones. It's probably a bad time for us to be a band.
Do you guys run the Thornhill social media, or does the label handle that?
Nah, Ben, our drummer, runs all of our socials, which is why they're bad. No, I'm kidding. No, none of us could take it over. None of us want to touch it. He's yeah, anyone could post, and we're like, I don't even have Twitter. I wouldn't even get it. I don't want to know.
That is the one that I have just never. I've never been good at it. I've never even understood it. I mean, to me, it always seemed like uh, for
Pit of
celebrities or
despair, bro.
something. But what's that?
Big echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. The internet is like the internet's where I make all of my money to live, but it's also the absolute worst place on the face of the earth. You know.
It's a hard balance, isn't it?
It is. But, you know, the one thing that I was reading that I thought was just so funny that I wanted to bring up and get your take on it was, I think this was back maybe 5 years ago or so on I think it was Triple J, which is an Australian broadcast company, I believe. And the intro riff to your song, Lily in the Moon, I guess, there was an issue, a technical issue, and it just got stuck on loop for like 5 hours straight. So if you're listening to the radio, that's all you heard for 5 hours.
Yeah, but it was only like a snippet of it. It was only a snippet of it. It wasn't even the whole song.
What even happened? How did something like that happen?
I think it was the change of time zones in Darwin, that radio station there. And then it was like 4 a.m. till someone noticed. And people were like messaging in, but I guess the host was asleep. I don't know. Or they probably don't even have a host at 4 a.m. I don't know. But yeah, it just got stuck on like this little part and it just looped for 4.5 hours straight or something like that.
Wow.
And we only heard about it because Triple J heard about it. So we had no idea.
But you guys have a solid history with Triple J, right? Because wasn't there some sort of competition like early on in the band's career that you guys won, and you guys toured with? It was like when if you won the contest, you got to do some dates with Architects or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. We just recorded a song called Tempera that wasn't going to get recorded, but I got sick, so we ended up finishing it, and then I had to go back and do vocals for it. And I think Architects were looking for bands to open in Australia, and we submitted that, and we won one of the Melbourne dates. I'm pretty sure Alforth also won one of the Melbourne dates, but yeah, that was pretty sick.
Yeah, that's an incredible opportunity, especially for a new band. When because your guys'
we weren't ready for it.
You weren't ready for it?
Nah, we were dog shit. I'm pretty sure.
Did the shows not go well?
I don't know, 5 years ago. Probably not.
Because when did the first record came out in the first full length was in 2019, right? Is that right? Like towards the end of 2019. So when you guys are, you just put out your full album and you're really, starting to make some moves, things are kind of starting to pop, because you guys were on UNFD before on the second EP, right? Before the first album came out. So you already had the label deal.
Technically the first two singles. So it's pretty much straight after that very first EP.
So when you put out that first album, and then, I don't know when it was, 6 months later, here comes the pandemic and just totally shuts everything down. I mean, I imagine there had to be this sort of, a period of uncertainty as to, we were just getting started, but is this thing going to keep going, or, nobody knew what was going to happen at the time? Or were you guys always pretty confident in, we're just going to stick this thing out and we'll just keep on trucking?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty confident. We were that confident we toured in between it. So we did our first European and UK tour off the Duckle with Wage War, and then COVID hit on our flight home. And then we got home, got locked down for 2.5 years or whatever. But between that, we somehow managed to do a headline regional tour that was like 20-something shows long. And we just like dodged and evaded all different COVID bullshit regulations and made shows happen. So we were like I think we were one of the only like active bands in Australia trying to do as much as we could. But I think it was writing the record in COVID, which was Heroine. Writing that was probably the most difficult because it was just depressing, not being able to see your friends and hear in real time what people are thinking about stuff. And yeah, I mean, that record is very much a COVID record.
That was such a wild time. I mean, looking back on it now, at first I was like, I thought it would be something, I remember, I don't know when this was, 8-9 years ago, there was talk of an Ebola breakout or something. And in 2 weeks it went away. And I figured that was going to be I think a lot of people thought that, wow, we'll just give it a couple weeks and it's going to be gone. But then I saw the NBA canceled the rest of the season or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I mean, if they're canceling sports, this is a pretty fucking big deal, you know?
Yeah, it was frustrating. I think I got it twice.
I know I had it at least once, but yeah, what a horrible thing. But then when things when that kind of came to an end and things began to resume, you guys kind of had some burnout within the band though, right? And you guys canceled a tour with August Burns Red, and I think you guys in the statement you said that you had to consider the overall longevity of a band.
Yeah, well, we just kicked out a member, so we weren't really in the position to go on tour.
Yeah.
We were like, nah, let's relax, let's recoup. Because like realistically, straight after COVID, we haven't stopped since. Like we especially because like I met my girlfriend at the start of COVID, I think. And ever since I've known her, we've been touring 6 months of the year, maybe even more, like for the last 3 years, I think. Like it has not slowed down since our first American tour. It's just been like crazy.
Does all the constant touring make it, does it strain a new relationship at all? Like not a whole lot of time to be together because you're always out on the road?
Nah, she's amazing. She's so tough. And I mean, if anything, I think it's helped with communication between us. Like I think we're really, really good at expressing what we need, when we need it, and how to do that. I think the balance is good. I don't know how many people in real life have to be apart from their partner for a long time. I think it's a healthy thing, but the amount that we do is probably not. But I do think there are good things that come of it because you really don't take your relationship for granted. You know why you miss them, and it's so much better when you're home. I don't know.
You guys
Good
ever
and
bring,
bad of everything.
you guys ever bring partners out on the road or no?
How much money do you think we have, bro?
Even just for a few days, or no? Is it always just you guys only?
Do you know how much that would cost?
I do know. I used to be an agent for a long time. I do
Oh
know.
my God.
It is
And
wildly expensive.
getting all those girls on a flight to America and then home for 3 days.
There's all your
in
tour money right there.
I don't think anybody needs that. I think for their sake, they don't need that.
Well, and here we are now with the band's third album, Bodies, which is it's a great album. The reviews are absolutely phenomenal, and it's got to be great to finally have it out. And plenty of touring coming up to support. I mean, you guys aren't even done with this U.S. tour, and there's already another North American tour announced in the fall with Landmarks. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. I think to announce an American tour in America, it's getting too much for me, right? I need to get out of here.
When you're
what was that?
You're doing some of the big festivals over here too in the fall.
Yeah.
And is that going to be your first time doing some of those festivals here?
Yeah, we've never done US festivals. I've heard about the US festival season. I mean, festivals are hard, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes.
You know, I feel like the U.S. I mean, I still think there's a lot of room to grow to ever compete with the festival season in Europe, but they've definitely stepped their game up. And these lineups, like the ones you're doing, Aftershock and Louder Than Life, they've really started to diversify the lineups and all sorts of bands on it now that I don't think would have ever put on 10 years ago. I mean, even when you've got bands like Cannibal Corpse, but then they have some I don't know, some 90s rock band or whatever. I mean, it's a very eclectic mix now, and they've definitely stepped up their game. But I think there's still a lot of room to go until there's anything like Download or something like that over here.
No, but I like that it's coming because that's what like I used to see the 90s lineups being. Even like Soundwave when I was a kid, which was an Australian one. I don't know. It's so much cooler that there is a mixed bill, and I think we're at a point now in music, in like heavy music, where people are not scared to use their outside influences, and it's like putting bands on the map in their own lane now, where you have all these different headliners where they're interesting, rather than getting like I don't want to go to a festival and hear the same band 16 times, but like they change in popularity. Like, fuck that. I want to go, and this stage has this person, but I'm not going to find that anywhere else. And if I want to watch them, then I have to leave to get to this person that's doing this. Like, it's a very cool time to be in a heavy band right now. I think the next 5 years are going to be really sick.
Well, and I think, the overall musical landscape has changed. I mean, nowadays, you've got Hardy, the country singer, but putting out songs where he's doing like death growls in it, or you've got pop stars, trying to do rock albums and things like that. And so I think people are a lot more accepting and open to, as opposed to back in the day, it's like, I just like rock, or I just like this, or I like that. But now everybody's fusing all sorts of different things into their own music anyways. And so, things are changing very, very rapidly in a good way.
Well, I think social media definitely has something to do with that. I think being able to, like, especially because we've been saying this a lot on this tour. I asked last night to the crowd, like, how many people's first show this was. Like, we're noticing a lot of like young kids that are coming to these shows that have never really been to a show before. Like, a lot of these, like, they're organically finding us somehow on a shared story or a Spotify account, or like whatever they're finding us at. Where like the first of that type that they're finding, they're coming to shows and they're like experiencing what a heavy show is in real time. And you can tell in the pit by the way that they act. It's super sick to, I don't know, like you said, like back in the day, whenever it was, you had, I listen to rock, I'm a rockhead, I'm a punk, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm with my group of people. But now, because it's so easily accessible throughout the culture of like social media, people like so much different shit, and their playlist is so full of different shit, and it's like, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, so see, social media is not all bad, I guess.
That's the only good thing it's got.
Yeah, well, and then, you've got bands like Sleep Token who are just absolutely dominating everything right now, and they're mixing, 5 different genres into what they're doing, and it helps everybody out. But well, the new album, Bodies, is out now. The band will be back in North America later this year with Landmarks. Jacob, I really appreciate you coming on. Anything you want to add as we wrap this up?
No, you smashed this, though. You did a lot of research. I had a very good time. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Love to have you back on, and hopefully I'll be able to catch Thornhill out on the ride. I have yet to see you guys live, so hopefully we'll connect out there, and love to have you back on. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Anytime. Yeah, just hit us up. Come to Landmarks too.
Yeah, I might have to do that, man. I really might. So thank you very much. Have a good rest of the tour and safe travels.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. We'll see you.